Okay, so now I hope by now you know what is the opposition when the kings are standing in front of each other, and so you know that all these squares, so oops, see all these three squares. Your screen sharing, why does it not show? Oops, I think I don't know, I think that's fine. So so these when the kings are facing each other, you cannot each of the king cannot make any advance, right? So so that is the opposition, and that plays a key role. Okay, now we will see this position if it is white to play. Okay, let us just check whether I've got it right. Yeah, I think I've got it right. Right, just to show this. Now such a position, if it is there, right, there is a technique for playing defense. There is a technique which is always to go for opposition. Okay, now if black is to play, he will try to maintain the opposition, and if it is not possible, he will go in front of the pawn and hide. Okay, or try to block the pawn. That is the black's defensive technique, and that allows black to always draw. Okay, now we'll see when it is possible to win for the king having the pawn. But in such position, if the king is in line with the pawn and the black is in this position, it will always be a draw irrespective of who is to play. Okay, we'll see it very quickly. We'll see it very quickly. If it is white to play, what can white play? At the most, he can advance the pawn, right? That is the only thing that you can actually do. Otherwise, anything else you play, then you are kind of not making any progress, right? If you have to make progress, means you have to queen the pawn, you have to push the pawn. Now in this position, the key question comes for black. Now black is not able to maintain the opposition now, right? Black will have to go someplace, and then it will not be an opposition. So where should black go?
D5.
Behind the pawn.
D5, that is correct. King to D5 in front of the pawn is the right move. Okay. If you go to D6, it becomes slightly dangerous. Okay, we'll see why. That's why it is best to directly come and block the pawn advance. Okay, that is the best possible move. Okay, so now we'll see what white does. White has to maintain contact with the pawn. So only move that is possible for white is D3. Okay, any other move will lose the pawn. So now again black's what do you call, black's dilemma is how does he maintain the opposition? He cannot maintain the opposition because, so where does he go? Where should black go? Should he go to C6, E6 or D6?
D6.
Yeah, D6 is the right move. Try to be in line with the pawn if you cannot maintain the opposition. Okay. So now if white comes, whichever side white makes progress, now black will go against the king and try to get the opposition. Okay. So this is the technique. Okay. Not if you go first itself here, if you go here, sorry, what am I saying? Cancel. So if the king goes here, okay, now he's losing if black king goes to E6, then he's losing the opposition because white king comes to E4, and now white is forcing, though in this position still black has got a defensive draw is there, but it becomes dangerous. So better not play like this. Better to play with D6 and let white make a move. White has to come to make some advance, otherwise white is stalled. So white king will come up, and after that again grab the opposition. Now again similar position to earlier, only thing is that one row above. So what if white has to make progress? He has to push the pawn, otherwise he's not making progress, right? So then where will black go? Black will go to D6, right? So white king will come to D4. Now black king will go to, from here where will black king go to? Now it is black to move. Remember opposition, and if not opposition, correct, D7. Chaitanya, you are right, D7. Now let white decide. If white decides to come here, c5, then black king goes to c7 and maintains the opposition, forces white to push the pawn, right? Push the pawn, again black king will go in front of the pawn. White king has to go to defend the pawn. He has only one move. He will go here. Now, again continuing thing, black king will go to d8. Okay. Now let us see. Now we are coming to a crucial juncture, and what we had studied last week, we looked at this position. So now we are building on top of that. So now where does white go? White has to make progress to make thing. Now do you remember this position from last week? Can you tell whether it's a win for white or a draw for white?
Draw.
A draw. And why is it a draw? Yeah,
King is getting the check.
yeah. The pawn will move, end up giving a check to the black king, and which is a stalemate position. So first of all, black will grab the opposition. Now to make progress, white has to push the pawn. Now he is pushing the pawn to the 7th rank, giving a check. This is the marker that I had said, that if the pawn moves with a check, then it becomes a draw, because the black king will go in front of the pawn. And now white has no option other than either drop the pawn, give up the pawn, or go stalemate, right? If white wants to defend the pawn, he has got only one square, d6, and after that it's a stalemate. If he goes anywhere else, then he will lose the pawn and it's a draw, because there are only two kings left, right? So, so this is the position. So remember, so if we go back, right? So now you know why that maintaining that opposition so is so important, because if black had played here instead of going in front of the pawn, if he had gone to e8, then what happens? If black makes one mistake here, right, then it's a win for white. This position is win for white. Can you see how? White will grab the opposition now. Force black to move. Where will black go? Not to f6. King has come to e6. Black king has to go in front of the pawn, right, to prevent it from queening. Otherwise, anyway, the pawn will queen. So king has to go to d8. Now the pawn advances to 7th rank without giving the check. Is very, very crucial. Allowing black king to now black king can no longer stay in front of the pawn, right? And can he go to the side of the pawn? No, there also, because the pawn itself has moved and now covering the squares, c8 as well as e8. d8, black king is already there. So only way for black to make a move is c7, and after that you move king to e7, and now next move you queen, right? So this is the technique. Okay. So remember, go through this handout as well as through recorded session also, and understand what and why. Okay. So this position is a draw if black plays correctly. Okay. So you should know, you should, as white or whoever, as the side having the pawn, you should know when the opponent makes mistake and when you can grab it and force him to lose. And if you are a defender, then you should know how to correctly defend. Okay, I hope all of you got it. All right. So we'll just very quickly see here.
Yes.
Black tries to maintain the opposition or tries to block the pawn. There are only two things. So first, white has to make progress. Black is out of opposition now, so he blocks the pawn. Then white defends the pawn. Now black wants to have the ability to create opposition, so he just goes one step back in front of the pawn, not goes to the side. If he goes to the side, then he loses the opposition. So now white has to make progress. Now black again grabs the opposition. Again pawn moves. Black has to give up the opposition, but goes in front of the pawn. Okay. White has to defend the pawn. Now again black does the same thing, goes back. White moves this side. Again black moves here, grabs the opposition. Pawn push. You lose the opposition, but get in front of the pawn. Get here. Now, this is the last thing. Here, if you make a mistake, then it's a lose. If black makes one mistake, then it's a loss here, right? We saw that. He has to go to d8, force white to come here, then grab the opposition. Now, either white will not make any progress at all. If white does not want to give stalemate, then if he doesn't push the pawn, what will he do? Then he's not going to make progress. Let us say somebody might say, okay, I will come to f6. In which case, black will come in front of the pawn. Now, to defend the pawn, you have to come to here. King to e5. Now, after that, what is the black strategy? Where should black king go now? Type your moves. c6. No, c6 is a blunder, absolute blunder. c6 is a blunder, lost. King to e6. After that, black king cannot come back and prevent. So king has to go to d8. Remember, go back and block the pawn. Don't allow it to queen. This is the only way to draw. King c6 loses, king e8 also loses, king c8 also loses, everything else loses. Okay, so king d8 is the only way. Then, if white wants to make progress, white will come up. And when black will again grab the opposition. If white doesn't want to make progress, then he can keep on playing, but then soon the moves, 50 moves rule will kick in and you will get a draw. Right? So okay. So that is what I hope you go through this, okay, and understand it. So now that we know how to advance the pawn or block the pawn, and rule of the square also we know it. So all of this will put together, and we will look at this end game. And visually we have sure. See this end game. If you look at it, then what is the position? Black has got 3 pawns. White also has got 3 pawns. Okay. But white is winning here. Why? It's a concept of outside passed pawn. Okay. And what is it that we will see? Can you see here? I have shown it with diagrams and we'll see it actually. This white pawn it is outside of all the activity. Left side, there are 2 black pawns each. White has got 2 pawns, black has got 2 pawns. In the center, there is a black pawn blocked by white, and black king is defending it. But to the right of it, to away from all of this action, there is a white pawn, which is not blocked by anything, and it is about to queen in 4 moves, right? So it is away from all of the rest of the action. That's why it is called as outside, and it is called as passed pawn because there is nothing in front of it. There is no blocking. So it has got a clear route to become a queen. When such a thing is there, there is a big advantage. Okay, we'll see. We'll see it. So let us see it. Let me get the chat. So let us clear board and let us put it. It is white to move. Okay. So now this position, though material is equal, white is winning this. And why? So the strategy is this. This pawn is not blocked, so it will try to advance, become a queen. Now black has to prevent it from queening. So black king will get diverted to attack this pawn and kill it. But when black king goes away, that time white will be able to kill this pawn. Black will be able to kill the h pawn. White will be able to kill the e pawn. But at the end of it, black king is outside. See, where the remaining pawns are there, white is much closer to them than black. So then white will take his king to these pawns and he will kill both these pawns, and black will not be able to defend them. So after that, white is going to win. Okay, that is the technique. That's the only technique to win here. Okay, and there is no defense against it. So let us see it how in this position. What will white play? White will start by playing advancing the pawn. Now try to give a move for black. King f6. Okay, king f6 is a good move. Now white plays h6 simply. Now king to g6. Yeah, I mean, if black wants to prevent it, white has to, sorry, black has to come to g6. Now white will take advantage and kill this pawn. Black has to kill this pawn. Now, see now, sorry, now what has happened is that though material is all equal, but positionally, this is called as positional advantage. So now white king is much closer to the rest of the action. So white king will go to d6. Absolutely correct. Now I think you will be able to see it, right? White king, black king will hurry back, but see, kings can make only one square move at a time. This is not a rook. So though black tries desperately to come back, but there is no use. It just cannot make it. White will kill this, black will come up. White will kill this pawn also. Black will try to go black, but now can you see it? Now it is not even a one pawn. Now there are two pawns, connected pawns. So this even if, I mean, this is an easy win, very easy win. In fact, you can play a6. Yeah, you can play a6 absolutely. Then what? Black has to go to p8, king b6. Doesn't matter. The only thing is that don't give a stalemate. Okay, that is the only thing. So remember to do that. Remember to not to give a stalemate. Okay. So it is very easy after this. King will go here. White will push this. Pawn. White will go here. Black king comes up. You defend the pawn. Now what? Now it is going to be over. White goes here. Only thing is that be very, very clear. Don't give a stalemate now. Don't give a stalemate. So what should be white's move? How
C6.
to, huh? G6 is a stalemate. Sorry, B6. B6 is a stalemate.
C8 7.
Huh?
Pawn to A7.
Pawn to A7, right. Pawn to A7 is a way to sacrifice the pawn and win because black king will come up, has to take it. Now you push the pawn. Now king will go back, you again push it. See, you are controlling white, your square is controlling the queening square. So no problem. After this, you will simply queen with a check, right? So you don't have to even bring back your king to C6. So Lakshmi, C6 is not required. Vedant or Singh. Here in this position, you can simply sacrifice a pawn and roll the other one forward, and that is going to simply win.
So it was uncle for it was for the when it was there were two pawns. I was telling for that one
Ah, okay, okay, okay. All right, fine,
for the king.
fine. So cool. So see, this is the importance of the outside passed pawn. So now see here. So this is what we learned. So outside passed pawn has an advantage because it will lure away the opponent's king. It will divert it, and because of the diversion you will get some key advantage using which you will be able to kill the other pawns. This is possible only in king and pawn endings. If there are other pieces, then it will not be easily possible. So normally the tactic is whenever there are more pieces, then but if one side has got an advantage like this, then that side will try to exchange of all the pieces, get into a king and pawn ending like this, and then use this to force a win. Okay. So this is the end game strategy for winning. Okay, I hope everyone understood this principle of outside passed pawn. Okay, now we will see the same principle how applies in this position. So let me make it bigger. Yeah, let me make it bigger. So can you see this position? And it is white to play. Okay. So can you guess a move? Let me see whether I have got it in my database. No, not this. Let me just see. Pawn captures. What is this? No, not this. Uh, 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 Let me just check. Otherwise, you can. I guess I did not. No, I don't have it. I think it's okay. No, it's okay. We will take it, but we'll see it. See here. We can even put it on the board very quickly. We can put it on the board. But can you? Okay, let me put it on the board and ask you a question. Pawns are okay. GC. All right. Fine. I set up the board. Oops. Set up the board. What we are going to do is clear the board, and we are going to put the pawns which are like this, and here there's a black knight here, there is a white knight here, there is a white pawn here, there are two more white pawns, and white king is probably here, and black king is it's okay wherever it is. Okay, so now in this position, right, if it is white to play, how would you? Black has got 4 pawns, white has got 3 pawns.
NX
Sorry? Type
NX E6.
type because there is a noise, it becomes slightly. So, yeah, knight to c6 is the actually winning move. Okay, winning move. And why it is so winning? In fact, okay, slightly change position. Why? Okay, we'll see it in this position also. It should win. White king is one row back, but should not matter. So black will take the pawn. Obviously, black has to take it. Sorry, take the knight. Now, now you see it is an outside passed pawn case. White has got a pawn which is outside and it is passed, and black has got an extra pawn, but it probably will not help. White will come up here. Now, let us try to see whether you can defend from black. Black has got an extra pawn. Let us see whether, but we'll apply the strategy of white of outside pass pawn, and we will see how it wins. Why you are my sharing screen is I'm sharing screen. Everyone else is able to see my screen. Just say yes or no. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then Chaitanya, maybe your side, maybe there may be some network issue. So, okay, so now let us try to defend. Try to play from the black side. Or I will try to play from black side. You play from the white side. Now you know the strategy. Okay. Yeah, black will come here.
Sir,
Yeah,
A4.
A4, excellent. Now black has to go here. See, black cannot attack the pawn because the white, otherwise this A pawn will become a queen. So now
A5.
A5, excellent. Go. Okay, now black will come here.
E6 check.
A6 check. Okay, black will take it.
King takes C6.
King takes C6. Excellent. Now let us say black will come up here. Now
King to D7.
king to D7. Okay, so black king to B5.
King to E7.
Okay.
King takes F7.
Okay. Black king is trying to rush back, but he just cannot.
King to G7.
Okay.
To G7. King takes H7. King G6. 5.
What? White to play.
H5.
H5. Okay. H5 is not a win, by the way. H5 is a draw. In fact, H5.
H6.
Wait. H5 it is black is winning. Can you see that? H5 is a blunder. Can you see?
Teacher, H5 is not a blunder. Sir,
This is a
the white king from H7
yeah, to where?
to H6. H5,
Okay, not H5 then. You mean H6. Okay. H6. Okay, all right. So now this is the thing. Now you are forcing. So now let us say black will go here, then you will kill this pawn. Black will kill this pawn. But now you are very easily you are going to be able to queen your pawn. That king is not going to reach in time.
Yeah, focus, sir.
Right? Now next move is winning the pawn. Right? So you saw in this position how it was not. So you, if you know the strategy and technique of winning with an outside pass, then even when one piece was there, you exchange that piece to get into a position where it was won. But if you don't exchange it, you play something else, then black will be able to very easily defend it. Okay, black will be able to very easily defend it. Try to play something. If you don't exchange it, right, then black will be very happily. Black will defend it. You want to try this?
I want to try, sir.
Okay, try to make some other move for white. It's actually if you try to come up or something like that, right? Even if you try to come up, if you don't exchange, then black can actually exchange or even not exchange. Yeah, black will try to even if black exchange, then also it is no longer a win for white. This position is not a win for white. Okay, because the pawn is not it is not passed because the black pawn is going to intercept it. It is going to get exchanged. It's probably black may win this actually. Okay, because black has got an extra pawn, but it is not so much advantageous because it is. So it will become probably black will have a edge, but it may become a draw. But white is not able to win this. Okay, this position. Only if white exchanged the pawn and created an outside passed pawn, then only he was able to win this. Okay. Okay. All right. Then very quickly we will look at some more positions and yeah, in this position, right? The rule of the square comes. Let us look at this. There is a pawn on f2, right? So let us set up a position. Clear board. Rule of the square. Let us see whether you remember it. The pawn is on f2. Okay. And it is white to move. Can black stop this white pawn? White to move.
No.
No.
No? Let us see.
No.
White plays f4. Black plays king b4. White plays f5. King c5. f6. King d6. f7. King e7. Black is able to stop it. So what did go wrong? You are not applying your principle of the rule of the square. See, after a white
King
moves
was
here,
far away.
what is the square? The square is from b8 to b5 to f5 to f8. This is the square of the pawn, and black to move, black is able to get into the square. The moment black gets into that square, right, this square, then black is able to defend it. So this is a draw for black if you simply move the pawn. If you don't move the pawn and if you try to move the king, then also it's a draw because where white will go, white will have to move the king here. Black will come up here. White will not, black will not allow the white king to come up and make any mischief. Now white will go here. Now it is crunch time. Now let us see whether you understand how to. What should black play now? He cannot maintain the opposition. He cannot block the white king anymore.
E4.
E4.
E4. Now white grabs the opposition, comes in front. Now black.
King E5.
King E5 is not. It's a big mistake.
F5.
King F5,
F5.
F4. King F4, not F5. F4. Try to be as close to the pawn. Try to block it as much as possible. Because you know what happens if you play king to f5, white wins this. White wins this game immediately because white comes in front of the pawn. This is a one game for white. See how there is a small difference between a win and a draw. This is a win for white, but if you play king to f4, then it's a draw. Because now what will you do? White king has to push the pawn. Now black will go back in front of the pawn and wait for white king to come up and then again grab the opposition. Right? Then it will follow the same technique that we saw. Okay. So remember. All right. All right. Then we will just see one more what happens in this position. So let me just increase the size so that you can see it. Yeah, the penultimate position, what you see here. See, I'm not going to demonstrate it, but the technique of outside passed pawn is in check. See here, black's pawn, both of them have equal pawn, but white's H pawn is going to be deciding because it will divert the black king and white will be able to. So finally, when H pawn gets killed by black, that time white will kill the E pawn of black, but then white will be closer to the two pawns that are blacks, and then black will not be able to defend it, and hence this will be a win for white. So I've just shown what is the technique by white pawn will roll forward, divert the black king, and white king will use that divergent to approach the pawns. Which ones? A7 and B7 pawns, and it will finally kill them. Okay. So that is the technique. And now last thing is there. Again, I have shown what is the technique. Okay. But you try it out whether you are able to win it. So it is in this position. If it is black to play, black will win this. Okay. Though the pawns are equal, white has got 4 pawns, black has got 4 pawns. But if black plays correctly, black can win this. And the technique I have shown it with the blue arrows. Try to play with some your friend or whatever it is and see if you can actually make it. I'm not going to show it now. Okay. So fine. So that covers our study of the end games. Very, very crucial. As you might have seen, one small mistake can become a blunder and you can lose a game which where you were supposed to draw, or you can draw a game which you were supposed to win. Maybe you will get stalemate, right? So that also happens. So we remember this is very, very crucial. So that's why go through this handout also multiple times till you get it right, and go through my recording also as well as the previous two videos till you really understand it well. Okay, these are very, very fundamental endings, very, very crucial to all your progress forward. Okay, everything else, this is like your basic mathematics that you learn. Everything else that you will learn in high school, college, etc., will be on top of this. So you have to know this perfectly well. Okay. All right. Are there any questions? We have about 2 minutes.
No.
It's clear. Things are clear.